Hi guys, my name's Trac from Nerd to Nerd. Today we are diving into my top 5 favorite horror games of all time. There may be some titles on there that may surprise you, but nevertheless, grab your favorite donut and your drink and let's get right into it. Number 5, The Baby in Yellow. Picture this. You're sitting back at home, relaxing on a Friday night, and all of a sudden you get roped in to babysitting duty. If that already wasn't the worst job in the world, you wait until you meet this little demon. So you're on babysitting duty. And let me tell you, things get weird pretty bloody quick. The parents do a runner, leaving you with this little baby in its yellow little getup. And the house, seemingly normal to begin with, but as we get a little bit further into the game, we realize that this place is a trove of mysteries and hidden doors. Initially, the baby looks like it isn't possessed by a demon spirit, and so feeding it, changing its diaper is all part of the job. The best part about this is that this baby is up for anything. Chuck it in the oven, no issues. Put it in the bin, she's fine. Even a dunny ride, you got it. Giggling all the way home. But here's the kicker. If you muck up its bedtime routine or don't get it a bottle in time, those clammy little hands will be sucking out your soul quicker than you can say peekaboo. What makes The Baby in Yellow absolutely hilarious is how it cranks up the silliness, all while keeping you on your toes and giving you a jump scare at every corner. The developers have meticulously thought out this game and have done a fantastic job in the process, all while continuing to update the game on special events like Christmas to keep the replayability of the game alive. The game has plenty of amazing puzzles to keep your brain active and engaged. So if you're keen for a game that'll have you jumping, laughing, and maybe even going and getting your tubes tied, give The Baby in Yellow a shot. Just make sure you've got a really good sense of humor and maybe a spare nappy or two, because you may need them after playing this one. Number 4, Welcome to Kowloon. So you've just scored yourself a cozy little apartment in the heart of Kowloon. And let me tell ya, the rent's a real kicker. It's a steal. This kind of place might be rough around the edges, but back in Melbourne, it would probably set you back about $1,200 a week rent. But hey, who needs food when you've got a primo view of a dirty back alleyway, right? Now, as you're walking down the streets of Kowloon trying to find your apartment, you stumble across the only sign of life that we have seen so far, an adorable little doggo. Thinking to myself, this guy's going to be our pal for the rest of the game. I was sorely mistaken, and sooner as he appeared, he was gone. So I was left to explore the streets of Kowloon all on my own. Now, if I ever wished that a horror game was multiplayer so I had a companion, this one would have been it. The music in this game, the atmosphere in this game, every little detail that the developers placed into creating this masterpiece left me so far on edge that even a note popping out of a fridge scared the living daylights out of me. The creepy mannequins lining the streets, the amazing puzzles, the characters, the horrors, everything about this game was so bloody good that I had to place it in my top 5 favorite horror games of all time. It has a way of sucking you so far into the game that you just don't want to stop. So I highly recommend placing this one on your must-play list and let me know what you think, because not everything as it seems in Kowloon. And as for the good papa, well, let's just say he's got a few tricks up his fur. And please don't forget to pay your rent, because you do not want to get on the wrong side of the landlord in this game. Number 3, Happy Game. Now the title may leave you scratching your heads, because this game is definitely not a happy game and rather a very mind-bending one. It's like diving headfirst into the trippiest weekend that you ever had in Nimbin. So imagine, you're thrown into a world that's got multiple colors, lots of explosions, rainbows, weird faces, and enough psychedelics to make a dispensary blush. Now don't let all of these smiley yellow faces and emoticons that have popped out of Facebook Messenger fool you. This game has got far more twists and turns than I have ever experienced in any game. As you get further and further into the game, things get weirder and weirder and weirder, including parts like grinding up these weird faces in mince mixers and controlling them like ventriloquist puppets with knives. This game will leave you gobsmacked, laughing maybe, and also questioning your own sanity. Now, I'm going to be completely honest here. When I saw this game in my Steam recommended list, I thought, no way known this is going to be any good. It looks absolutely terrible, but it has hands down become one of the most unique horror games that I've ever played in my life. It is nothing like any other game that I've ever experienced before, and I highly recommend anyone jumping in and giving it a shot. If you're up for a trip that's wilder than you sitting in your parents' basement, looking up those colored lights on the wall, then this game's probably for you. The artwork is so impressive that I want to purchase it and get it put on every single wall in my house. The story is just absolutely mind-blowing. If you're ready to really challenge your mind with amazing puzzles, amazing visuals, and an amazing storyline, this game should be at the top of your list to try for new and unique indie horror games. We absolutely love this game, and I will play it time and time again just to get the full experience once more. Just be prepared for things to get incredibly weird as you open this one. Number 2, Madison. We've just gone through some pretty hilarious looking games, and this one is far, far, far from that. This game is going to take you on such an extreme emotional roller coaster that you won't know where to look once you get off. Here's the kicker. I have watched this story multiple times, and every single time this game has absolutely rocked me to my core. It's like a punch to the gut followed by a roundhouse kick to the soul. This game should come with every single trigger warning possible because it will grip your soul right out of your chest and leave you in absolute despair. This game is not for the faint of heart. You are going to have to think on your toes and think quickly. Any wrong mistake will leave you at the clutches of things that you don't even want to know exist. This game will make you cry like a baby and reach for the nearest box of tissues and your closest soft toy. I'm talking on full Kim K ugly crying face. Well, in my case anyway. In fact, I was so shaken up by this particular story and the game itself that I had to play the Wiggles through certain parts of the game to help myself get through it. Who knew that fruit salad could be so comforting in a time of absolute despair? To be fair, I think that the Wiggles only added to my emotional roller coaster. There are so many different stories and lines going on in this game that it's really hard to keep up. There is a lot of back and forth. You may be wondering why this is number 2 in my top 5 favorite horror games of all time. I obviously have not said anything great about it so far, but that's the thing. This game has the ability to wrap itself within you so tightly that you feel like you are in the game. I have never had a game that has made me feel what Madison made me feel. The sheer terror that I experienced playing this game was absolutely out of this world, and I have never seen anyone else play it and feel otherwise. This game has been so well done, so much thought has gone into it. It is absolutely incredible. The visuals, the stories, the monsters, the jump scares, everything. It is your classic jump scare horror, but yet for some reason, I just didn't expect most of them that occurred. At some points, I'm certain that you won't know whether to laugh or cry, but spoiler alert, you're probably gonna do both. So if you're up for a game that is emotionally draining as it is captivating, then I believe that Madison is the right pick for you. Make sure that you have a side of tissues, an emotional support human, or 20, and maybe a playlist of your favorite feel-good tunes to get you through the tears and the terror that is Madison. Trust me, you're gonna need them. Number 1 is the best horror game that I've ever played, and potentially one that you would not expect me to list at the top of my top 5. However, it is an incredible game, and I highly recommend anyone playing this one. Number 1, What Remains of Edith Finch. We're going to get serious on this one, guys, because this game is in my top 5 for a few different reasons. This game will send you into the darkest depths of your mental space. If you are sensitive or prone or have any triggers at all, this game may not be one for you. This game left me absolutely emotionally exhausted, but in the best way possible. I cried at every single scene and at the end of every single story throughout this game. We're getting real with this one because this game isn't your typical kind of game, and certainly not a typical horror game. You are not getting jump scared at every turn. You are not smashing your keyboard trying to get through or beat any monsters. This is very much a game based around the story and very much a point and click game. From the very get-go, the story just got me. It hooked me the way that I walked down that first ramp towards the Finch house. It had absolutely gripped me. This game does not hold back. As you explore the stories of everyone in the Finch family and why they are no longer there, you actually go on a roller coaster of each and individual character in the story and why they are no longer with us. Every single story is absolutely heartbreaking. I am not ashamed to admit that even thinking about some of those stories now is making my eyes well up. I don't want to give too much away about this game because anything that I say could give away a particular part of the story, but let me tell you that every single story is an absolute punch in the gut, and it is absolutely surreal and such a great game to play. And that is it for my top 5 favorite horror games of all time. Let me know what yours are in the comments and what you think of mine, and have you played my top 5 games? Next up, guys, we have my top 5 favorite multiplayer games of all time. Thank you so much for joining us, and I can't wait to see you on the next one.